everyone. It's Debra Poneman, founder of Yes to Success, where we share knowledge and tools for you to live your ultimate life. Ageless, anti aging for your brain, your body, and your future. And the Awake Method, because it's time for all of us to wake up. And I hope everyone in the US had a happy Thanksgiving and you experienced lots of gratitude and blessings and love all around, or at least there weren't any major fistfights. But honestly, as I said last week, a lot of people right now are feeling, some amount of fear, even despair around what's going on in the US and the world. Even if our own lives are good, we can easily go to that place of despair for all the suffering of others. But here's the truth: each of us is more powerful than we even know. And our individual actions affect every corner of creation. Not sure if you believe me? Well, let me tell you something that happened to me when I was only 13 years old. So I went to a school called East Prairie School. It was in Skokie, Illinois. And, there were different groups, and I was in a club called the Cleftos. I don't know how we came up with that name, but our symbol was like the treble clef, whatever. And every girl in East Prairie School, it was like their dream to be a member of the Cleftos. And it was, I have to admit, it was kind of an exclusive club. But I was never ever a mean girl. I just could never go there myself. But I remember very clearly one day we were sitting on a park bench or picnic table. It was actually a picnic table out on the playground. And two of the other girls in the Cleftos brought over a girl. I'll just call her Holly. And they brought her over and they said to her, Holly, we would like you to be a member of the Cleftos. And you would have thought that we had given Holly a gold brick. No, no, no. I mean, it was so much more exciting to her than getting a gold brick or winning the lottery. I mean, she was being invited to be a member of the Cleftos, and I saw her eyes light up like two suns. And I didn't know they were inviting her, but I was certainly thrilled about it. And then they said to her, "Oh, we're just kidding. We would never let you be a member of our club." And I had a genuine spiritual experience at that moment because my shock and the pain that went right into my heart chakra expanded out. And I saw the world, the entire world, as an interconnected matrix. And I saw Holly's pain radiating out into every corner of that matrix. And I remember my little 13-year-old vision thinking, oh my goodness, one person's pain is everybody's pain. And I mean, I'm feeling actually in my body right now, but then I also saw something that I will never forget. And I saw her pain go back into the body of the two girls that had caused that pain. And I saw it multiply a thousandfold. It kind of like fried their insides. I mean, I'm seeing it right now. And I remember at that moment, not just for self preservation, but I remember at that moment making a promise to God that I would never do anything consciously to hurt another human being because I saw Holly's hurt and I also saw how it radiated out and how it hurt the whole world. Now, have I been perfect? Of course not. I'm human. Do I forgive myself when I'm not perfect? Of course I do, because as my dear friend Byron Katie says, there is no reason to put pain on pain. So, what do I do when I get off track and find myself potentially maybe hurting somebody else a little bit? I forgive myself. I put my hand on my heart. I breathe into the pain. And by the way, just by putting your hand on your heart, it stimulates the oxytocin, which is a feel good hormone. And I say, I love you. I forgive you. You are doing the best you can. However, if you really want to have an impact on the world, I would also invite you to ask forgiveness from the other person. I mean, every time you scream at your kids or you're nasty to your neighbor because she won't cut the branches off the tree that are on your side of the fence, and then you have to rake the leaves, or you lay the horn on someone when someone cuts you off, or even when you roll your eyes behind someone's back, it harms all of creation. It does, let me tell you. But you can undo that harm and bring in an exponential amount of grace filled light by going back and saying, I'm really sorry that I said that to you. I think you're a wonderful neighbor, and I'm lucky to live next door to you. Now, I know that many of you are aware of the work of Masaru Emoto. He was the man who wrote the book Messages from Water. But why don't you listen to this with a beginner's mind as if you never heard it before? Because his research absolutely confirmed the impact of our words and our thoughts and on all of creation. If you don't know who he is, Dr. Emoto was a renowned Japanese scientist who provided factual evidence that human thoughts, words, and even feelings affect the world around us. His research was done on how vibration essentially affects the molecular structure of water. So he originally took water from various sources and he froze it and he photographed the crystals using a high speed using high speed photography. So his first photos were of spring water way up in the mountains outside of Seijo, Japan, and they were absolutely stunningly beautiful crystals. And then he took photos of the same river after it flowed through a heavily industrial area in Seijo, and the crystals were, ugly and distorted. Then he furthered his research when he discovered that water actually responded to outside stimuli like music. So, in the next phase of his research, he took a neutral source of water and he played various music pieces. And then he froze the water and photographed the crystals. And what he found was that when he played, for example, Bach and Mozart, the frozen crystals were breathtakingly beautiful. And when he played heavy metal music, they were again all dark and distorted. But the most magnificent research that beautifully illustrates what we're talking about in terms of how we can affect all of creation came when Emoto conducted research where words were spoken by Japanese school children to the water. And when the school children said, I love you to the water, and the water was frozen, the patterns were again astoundingly beautiful. And when the school children said things like, I hate you, I'm going to kill you to the water, well, you didn't even want to look at the negative forms that appeared in the photographs of the crystals. Furthermore, when Dr. Emoto typed words from a word processor and then taped the pieces of paper with these words written on them around the beakers of water and froze the water overnight. In the morning, when he photographed the crystals on the beakers, that he wrote simple things like "do it," but he had put the energy of like a command into it, like "do it." Again, the crystals were distorted. And on the beaker, he wrote things like, let's do it, with an energy of cooperation and an energy of love. Let's do this together. The crystals were beautiful. Here's the important point here. Since over 70% of our bodies and the body of our Mother Earth are made up of water, every word we speak, the music we play, the words we type have a concrete effect on ourselves, on others, and the planet as a whole. I mean, do you realize that if you speak harsh words and the person doesn't even physically hear you, it still affects 70% of his or her body and yours? So, if we want to contribute to a world that is at peace, and I know that we all do, we need to be quicker to praise and slower to criticize. We need to say things like, can you please hand me those papers, and not get me the papers? And even if we need to say no, we can always say no with what I call a yes attitude. And if you ever doubt that you're making a difference in the world, just remember everything is energy and we are all connected by the matrix. And you are more powerful than you can even imagine. So have a great week putting positivity, kindness, and love into the matrix of our earth. I send you my best.